Breaking news. You're in the trenches with Dave Lapham, presented by First Star Logistics. Dave Lapham just left Zac Taylor's press conference a little bit earlier. Some breaking news, not news you want to hear this early in the preseason after the first preseason game. Amarius Mims news. Dave Lapham, what's the latest?
Yeah, the latest is unfortunately in the preseason encounter against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at some point in time during the course of the game. He strained his pectoral muscle. You can't really identify what play, but he just basically was feeling it after the game. They took a picture of it. So he's got a strained pectoral now. Strained. Okay. What's the severity? That's not information that's divulged, obviously. I've had that issue before. Mine was not in a terrible spot. As I recall, if it's, up a portion of the pectoral, up by where the attachment occurs with the shoulder, that can be a little bit problematic. If it's in the belly of the pectoral, that's less of an issue. And if it's kind of more toward your chest, it's even less there. So I mean, there's all kinds of things here. Where is the injury in the pectoral? How severe is it? There's first, second, third degree tears. That's what it is. Basically, it's when you have a strain like that, it's a tearing of muscle tissue, and it's hopefully not totally torn, because if that were the case, we'd be looking at surgery. And it was announced no surgery necessary, so that's good. It's not detached. So it's just a severity of a question of how severe is the pectoral issue and the location of the pectoral issue. And Zac said that it was going to be a few weeks, and he said Webster's definition is as many as 2, as many as 5. I mean, it's going to be it's a week-to-week thing. Again, depending on the severity and the location and the response to treatment and rehab, and everybody responds differently to rehab. So there's no textbook, okay, with this injury and this severity, it's to the day, here's when he should be available. It's not like that. Every athlete is different, every body is different, every recovery is different, and all that sort of thing. Bottom line is, it's a shame. He played really well, picked up twists and stunts well, was moving well, no shock whatsoever as to the level that he played at. Now, here we go for joint practices. That was going to be a lot of work for the number ones during the course of the joint practices. And then, backups would be playing in the preseason game. I don't think the projection was for the starters to play very much in the next 2 preseason games, or the last 2 preseason games, because of the joint practices that are going to take place. They're going to be long. They're going to be competitive. They're going to be arduous. So he was going to get a lot of really good work against different colored jerseys, with different players that have different athletic abilities, different techniques, different schemes, all that sort of thing that he's not going to be able to be a part of. So that's unfortunate. Does it mean that he's not going to start in the opener? No, hell no, it doesn't mean that. He can still start at right tackle at the opener. Particularly if the clock starts now and it's a couple of weeks. There's a week between week plus between the last preseason game for the Bengals on Thursday and the opener for the Cincinnati Bengals. Is a week and a half. It's Labor Day. There's nothing going on. So I mean, there's time. I don't think that's the disappointing part of it. The disappointing part of it is those reps that we just talked about that he was going to be able to bank. Now he won't be able to. And I was just looking at the weather forecast in Chicago, Dave. There's forecast for storms on Thursday in Chicago. And I mean, if there's thunder and lightning and there's severe storms, that's an issue. And it's too late to cancel now. I mean, everything's arranged. There are flights, there are hotel rooms, there are meals, there are everything. The hay's in the barn, as Paul Brown used to say. So, man, you'd hate to have to travel all the way to Chicago and have separate practices indoors, because these indoor facilities aren't built for 180 guys. There's 90 guys on each football team. There's only so much room. You can't really have individual drills, never mind team things. So that potentially could be a fly in the ointment. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully that that weather forecast might change. But man, you just never know. Best laid plans a lot of times they may have monkey wrenches thrown in them, that's for sure.
Final question, Dave, before we let you go out to watch practice. Mims in college missed quite a bit of time playing because of injuries. Does this create more of a concern that this young man, as talented as he may be, just can't fight away an injury bug?
Yeah, that's another thing that comes to mind. And when you look at the Bengals' history of injuries with first-round draft picks, it's kind of crazy. And the guy that basically changed that, flipped that script as such, is Anthony Munoz, who had his issues at USC and then came with the Cincinnati Bengals and was an Iron Man. But yeah, I mean, you start to wonder, is it man? What is it? Is it the injury bug, and the bug hasn't left his body yet? What is going on? When will the football gods start to be kind to this guy? Because man, he can play. I mean, he most definitely, has talent, and man, it's so unfortunate. And again, this may be a really, really slight one, and it's just, hey, something's bothering me. Take a little picture. Okay, let's just shut it down for a little while and not let it get worse. And that's the thing, because I remember when I had mine, I'm like, you're the player. It's like, dude, let me get out there. It feels 100% better than it did 4 days ago. I get better range of motion. I can because I mean, in offensive line players, we both know, Dave, it starts with your feet and ends with your hands. And, if you got to finish and you're jamming your hands into his chest and the cantilevers or the shoulder pads and trying to control him with your hands, that's a huge force. You're locking your arms out. That's a big force on your chest, and back in the day, pectoral injuries didn't occur as much because you weren't allowed to bench press guys like you are today, and so, how extensive is that? Again, how much tearing has gone on there? And it's like, and I remember saying, hey, come on, if I can practice here on this Thursday, I'll be good. And they ended up letting me do it. Mine wasn't that severe. It wasn't that bad. And back then, it wasn't as they aren't as particular as they are now. But the thing is, you don't want to have a setback. And then if you have a setback, it might be worse than what the original injury was. So, they're like, all right, take one more day. So I went back up to practice on Friday instead of Thursday, and I think they're going to be very, very cautious with him. I don't think they're going to take any shortcuts. I don't think it's going to be get out to practice the first day you feel great. It might be, let's see what happens the next 2 or 3 days, see if you still feel great, if it even starts to feel a little bit better. I don't think, as soon as he, quote, passes a couple of strength tests or whatever, that they're going to throw him right back out there on the football field. They've got time. Yeah, again, will he probably miss both of these joint practice sessions? Yep. I think it's going to be at least 2 weeks, because like Zac said, the definition of 2-week minimum. Now, what's the tail end? What's the maximum? And there's still, another week and a half to work with there. So, you're looking at 3.5, 4 weeks, and then a full week before the game is 4.5, 5 weeks. I mean, we're looking at potentially a month before he has to go out there, and really get after it. And he's going to be out there for all the mental reps. He can still work on all his footwork drills. He can still work his legs. He can still work his lower body. Has to be obviously careful with the upper body, but so he's going to be out there going through all of that process. It's not like he's being shut down and put in a closet somewhere. So it'll be interesting. It's a setback. How severe a setback? And the other good thing about him is not only has the physical part of his game shown brightly and they're super encouraged by, but so has the mental capacity, the mental part of his game, to absorb new plays, to absorb new techniques, to absorb things that his teammates are giving him in terms of tips and how to do things and avoid this and make sure you emphasize that. I mean, he's, according to a lot of people that I've talked to, he's as good as they've been have ever dealt with in that regard. So he's got so many things going his way. And, Zac said he's still upbeat. He's still very, very engaged. And I don't think that's going to change. But I hope this is minor. And as you said, Dave, I hope it's the end of it. I hope that, man, the injury gods are kind to this kid and let him get through a full season.
He's Dave Lapham with the breaking news on Amarius Mims. Do us a favor, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already to Dave Lapham in the Trenches, presented by First Star Logistics. Also share. Let more people know about what we're doing here on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcast. Dave, we'll catch up with you after practice today.
Sounds good, Dave. It'll be interesting. The good news is, while we have a second here, the timing is incredible, but Trent Brown is going to be engaging himself in team drills today for the first time. So that's good news. I mean, the bad news is obviously Amarius Mims will be missing all of those, but Trent Brown did individual work last week. He was scheduled to join the entire practice, including team aspect of it today. So the insurance policy that we talked about, the premiums are already being it's already being paid off because Trent Brown comes back into the mix, and Dante Smith hopefully will be back into the mix here shortly. So they won't be so shorthanded at that tackle position. And Mims had to take quite a few snaps. The number one's left, and he didn't in the first preseason game. So man, you'd hate to think that that injury took place when he was in there while all the other number ones were out. Man, that would be par for the course. You just don't know when it took place and when it got aggravated and agitated and all that sort of thing. But you hate to lose Mims, but getting like a guy like Trent Brown back, who's won Super Bowls and been on in Pro Bowls, is a good thing.
He's Dave Lapham. You've been in the trenches with Dave Lapham, presented by First Star Logistics.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realize self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.